Michael Popak, Legal AF. Deadly force. Biden authorized it. And the FBI brought guns to the Mar-a-Lago raid. Where am I getting that from? Donald Trump continues to mislead and commit fraud against his own followers to get them to contribute up to $500 in a recent email mailer where he alleges that there was an attempted assassination of him by Joe Biden in the execution of the search warrant back in August of 2022. I have to keep talking about it because Donald Trump keeps talking about it in order to grift on it, in order to make money off of it, in order to try to repay himself the $100 million worth of attorney's fees that Donald Trump has had to spend since he left office. This is how Donald Trump talks to his followers and people that are going to vote for him, claiming falsely in a depraved and disgusting manner that he was the subject of an assassination attempt. Let's talk through this for a moment, so that you have at least talking points for when this comes up in your daily conversation. Donald Trump left the White House and took with him at least 73 boxes of documents that didn't belong to him, that hadn't been properly vetted or cataloged or returned to the National Archive, that belonged to you and me, including top secret and classified and national defense information documents. Despite that, and despite knowing that, the National Archive and the Department of Justice worked voluntarily with Donald Trump's people for almost a year to try to get back all those documents without having to go to the mattresses and go to the search warrant and go to and have a judge authorize it and have a grand jury issue it and all of that. It started with a subpoena, the subpoena coming out of the grand jury. This is after 6 or 8 months of negotiations, and all along the way, the Department of Justice getting insider information from those on the inside that told them that Donald Trump was continuing to retain documents and hiding them at Mar-a-Lago and at other places, and had no intention of returning them. There was a number of insiders that cooperated with the Department of Justice. That allowed them to go to the grand jury in Washington, D.C. under Judge Beryl Howell and get a subpoena. The subpoena was sent to Donald Trump and his lawyers, and still Donald Trump did not comply with the subpoena and tried to hide boxes and documents from his own lawyers and certainly from the National Archive and the Department of Justice. When the Department of Justice got information, insider information and other testimony, that boxes were being moved around Mar-a-Lago by Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, that they were considering once they figured out there was video evidence of it on their own camera system, that they were now moving documents around even faster and maybe moving documents off of site. They went to a federal magistrate with that information, with that testimony, with those sworn statements, went to Judge Reinhardt in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and obtained a search warrant. But they didn't just, as Donald Trump has portrayed it, they didn't just put on their FBI jackets and show up at 5 o'clock in the morning with flashlights, which they could have, sort of like what they did with Rudy Giuliani when they executed a search warrant with a dawn knock and announce at the front door. They didn't do that at Mar-a-Lago. First of all, it was August. And if you know anything about Palm Beach County and rich people in August, those two things don't go together. Palm Beach County is empty in August of all the wealthy, and Donald Trump leaves Palm Beach County and decamps to his Bedminster golf course and lives there, and lives at Trump Tower in New York starting in around April or May. So the whole summer, he's not at Mar-a-Lago, and the government knew that. The Department of Justice knew that, and of course, the Trump people knew that. So instead of just showing up and banging down the doors, which is how Donald Trump portrays it, with their guns drawn, ready to take out Donald Trump if they found him in a bathrobe, trying to get a midnight snack, they coordinated the execution of the search warrant, which they don't normally do, but they gave him the courtesy of that. You see how that's being repaid now. They coordinated it with Donald Trump's lawyers, with his Secret Service detail, with the staff of Mar-a-Lago to make sure there'd be no slip-ups or screw-ups and to make sure the family wasn't present. How are you going to attempt to assassinate somebody when you know they're not there? And they're purposely not there. But that doesn't fit Donald Trump's fundraising narrative storyline. In order for his narrative to make sense, he had to have been at Mar-a-Lago, which he was not, and his family had to be there too. The Secret Service wouldn't have known about the execution of the search warrant, which They did. And when they came through the front door, they were surprised to see family Trump there and pulled out their guns and were authorized by Joe Biden to take them out. The only problem with that is, they weren't home on purpose. B, it was coordinated around them not being at Mar-a-Lago. C, the staff knew about it. The Secret Service knew about it in advance, and Donald Trump's lawyers knew about it in advance. In fact, the Donald Trump's lawyers asked to be on site during the execution of the search warrant. That would be the Evan Corcoran, Tim Parlatore, Jennifer Little, Christina Bobb group. And they were told, no, we don't have lawyers supervise execution of search warrants. They said, can we watch it on video cameras? And I think that's the first time that the FBI and the Department of Justice knew there were video cameras, although there was some suspicion that right before there was movement of boxes around video cameras. But they got it confirmed when they asked to watch it on video, and the FBI said, no, you can't watch it on video. But there's nobody there, right? Donald Trump is not at Mar-a-Lago, August 2022. He could not have been the target of an attempted assassination by Joe Biden, right? But that's what he tells his supporters. And give me up to $500 million for the deadly fire Biden attempted, authorized that the FBI bring in guns. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then, Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. And you can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going. Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, etc. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve your metabolic health. It can also track your cycle and, for women, the onset of menopause, and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts, so you can keep up your energy and stave off cravings. The key to metabolic health is something called metabolic flexibility, and that's where Lumen really shines. It refers to your body's ability to efficiently switch between using different fuel sources like carbs and fats. There are preferred times to use each, and how well you can switch places you on the metabolic flexibility spectrum. And after getting to know you through your breath, Lumen gives you a metabolic flex score that you can track and improve upon. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me and use LegalAF to get $100 off your Lumen. That's LUMEN.ME and use LegalAF at checkout for $100 off. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. Here's another thing for those that can't figure it out already. FBI always carry weapons when they execute a search warrant. And the policy that was reflected in the search warrant paperwork is the same policy that's in every search warrant executed by the federal government. And it's a limitation on the use of deadly force. It's a limitation on the use of deadly force, not an authorization to use it. It tells the FBI agent only on the most dire of circumstances, when their life is in jeopardy during the execution of a search warrant, can they draw their service revolver or service weapon and use it. So Donald Trump picks that out of a filing, says, oh, look at this boilerplate about deadly force. They were going to use deadly force on me. I mean, in order for that to have been true, he would have to have been at Mar-a-Lago, or they would have had to execute the search warrant at Bedminster golf course while Donald Trump was there. And then Donald Trump has claimed that they would have shot through the Secret Service detail. I don't know. Did he fall asleep in the middle of the recent Civil War movie or something, where the Secret Service defends the president of the United States while he's in the White House from a civil war that's raging outside the White House? Is that where he's getting this stuff from? I mean, it's really, it's an unstable Donald Trump that people are considering voting for. I just read that Blackstone and other financial services bigwigs who are billionaires or almost trillionaires, they're all rallying around Donald Trump because it helps their pocketbook. I don't know what they're talking about. The stock market is more stable under Democrats than they are under Republicans. More jobs are created under Democrats than under Republicans. I really don't get this fantasy fascination, this cult-like trance that Donald Trump puts people in, including bigwigs on Wall Street. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. I mean, I would watch all these conduct and behavior of Donald Trump, and the only thing you can come away with is he's unstable. He's just not qualified to be president of the United States. You want your president of the United States to claim falsely and fraudulently, look his donors in the eye and tell them that he was the target of an attempted assassination, when that has to be false and is false empirically? He's off the rails and he's careening out of control, and he's willing to take out American democracy along the way. We got to keep talking about this BS here on Legal AF, because I think people come to expect it, that we're going to shine a light on it. We're going to deeply dive into it to the molecular level and talk about things at the intersection of law and politics. If you like what we're doing, join us on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Legal AF. And if you like what I'm doing, follow me, Michael Popak, on all things social media at MS Popak, and then on hot takes like this one about every hour here on the MeidasTouch Network, and go over to the MeidasTouch YouTube, free subscribe, and then look for contributors or playlist and look for Michael Popak. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popak reporting. Heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.